Hello all. One of the components of the kind of presuppositionalism that is currently popular is to refute an atheist worldview by apparently exposing its absurdity. This is done by confronting the atheist with the problem of hard solipsism. Since few non-philosophers have given solipsism much thought, few atheists have particularly strong responses. Also, since most presuppositional apologists follow a fairly strict script, the problem of hard solipsism doesn't get the attention that it perhaps deserves. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about what the problem of hard solipsism is, and I will present a solution to it. To begin with, what is solipsism? Well, put simply, solipsism is the idea that we can never be entirely sure of anything about the reality outside of ourselves. That is, that if an objective reality exists, we can never have knowledge about the way that it is with absolute certainty. The common thought experiments to illustrate this are either the Brain-in-A-Vat Scenario or the dream hypothesis. Descartes, when considering this problem, argued that there is no way to be certain that what I'm experiencing right now isn't just a dream, from which I could wake up at any moment. Now, you may argue that your waking experiences are quite different from your dream experiences, but that might just be because dreaming within a dream is different from just dreaming. In any case, few people would argue that they can be completely certain that they're not currently in a dreamlike state. It may well seem exceedingly unlikely, but the slimmest possibility is still there. The other thought experiment is the Brain-in-A-Vat Scenario. The idea here is that a sufficiently technologically advanced civilization could suspend your brain in a vat and wire it up to a computer. All the sensory inputs to the brain and nerve outputs from the brain would be simulated by the computer, so as to give the illusion that the brain exists within a body that doesn't actually exist. This is part of the premise of the Matrix movie series. In this way, the reality that the brain experiences would be indistinguishable from our own, but would be false. So what, you say? Well, in the Brain-in-A-Vat scenario, there is no requirement that the brain's experience has anything in common with actual reality. Therefore, there's no way that the brain could gain any knowledge at all about the actual nature of reality. The problem here is that we have no way of knowing whether we are actually just brains in vats. And in fact, whether I am the only brain in the vat and everyone else is simply a simulation. This is the kind of solipsism that presuppositional apologists refer to. They argue that unless you have a way of divining facts about reality with certainty, your worldview is incoherent. That is, you cannot make any arguments at all. The problem for these apologists is that solipsism makes things much worse than this. Once we recognise that there is no way of discerning facts about reality with certainty, we may now turn our attention to our memory. Are our memories infallible? Few would argue that they are, and so we must concede that there is always some possibility that any given memory is incorrect. But if we return to the Brain-in-A-Vat scenario, there's no reason that a sufficiently technologically advanced civilization couldn't have a computer implant false memories directly in a brain. That is, rather than strictly speaking being a biological brain in a vat, we could just be an electronic simulation of a brain within a supercomputer. And this supercomputer could alter our memories at will to create the illusion of a past that never actually happened. Now, this may seem like stretching credulity even further. The point is, though, that we can never categorically rule this out. There is no perception, sense, nor memory that we can point to that can establish the absolute reliability of any of our memories, much less a majority of our memories. So we've established that we can never be absolutely certain about any fact of reality, nor can we even be certain about our own past perceptions. Therefore, all we can know is our own perceptions in the moment. But surely we can be certain of various analytic statements like 1 + 1 = 2. These are true by definition, so we can at least be sure of these, right? Well, no. Because it actually gets worse. Is our ability to think rationally infallible? Is it possible that although we have convinced ourselves that we are making a logically valid argument, that in fact we have simply made a mistake? Reasonable people are forced to concede that no matter how trivial an argument, no matter how thorough they've been, they could still have made a mistake. If we are indeed within a computer simulation or in a dream, then our ability to reason logically cannot be trusted, no matter how certain we feel. And so we have no way of reasoning to any conclusions with certainty. At this point, the presuppositional apologist will object that they do not have this problem because God can reveal information to them in such a way that it cannot possibly be false. The thing is, though, that 1. God doing this is indistinguishable from the computer simply putting this experience directly into our brain simulation. And 2, they never actually get around to explaining how this actually occurs. It's at this point that the presuppositional apologetic script moves on to another topic, since revelation from God doesn't actually offer any solution to this problem of hard solipsism. So, here we are, and by we I mean me, since I cannot be certain that anyone else actually exists. In fact, I can be certain of no facts about reality, about anything outside of this precise moment, and no matter what perceptions or sensations I have right now, I can draw no certain conclusions, since my ability to reason is not absolutely reliable. This is the full depth of the problem of hard solipsism. The only thing that I can be absolutely sure of is that there is something that I call I, which is aware, in this precise moment only. That's it. Any other knowledge claims are not absolutely certain, and so not completely reliable. Even that statement might be false. What's the solution? Well, firstly, we need to recognise that this is a problem. I'm not aware of any successful rebuttal to it, and mostly is considered a theoretical rather than practical problem. That is, most people seem able to live their lives and do philosophy without having a comprehensive solution. In fact, the most common response is to simply assume that our powers of logic, our memory, and our perceptions are reliable enough, and move on. For the unphilosophically minded, this is fine. The point I want to concentrate on in this video is whether our perceptions of reality can actually tell us anything about ultimate reality. That is there a way of determining whether I am just a brain in a vat? I believe that a pragmatic ontology that is built from an empirical epistemology allows us to dismiss concerns about ultimate reality. What does that mean? Well, first off, we recognise that our perceptions, memories, and use of reason are ways of gaining knowledge about some portion of the universe. That is, our experiences of the world, our memories of these experiences, and our reasoning from them can tell us something about the way that the universe is. It may not be able to tell us everything about the universe, and it may not be completely reliable, but it does tell us something. When I have the perception of seeing a black and white cat, this tells me that there is an I that is doing this perceiving, even if it doesn't correspond to an actual cat and is just a computer simulation. Furthermore, if I continue to perceive this cat visually, and then touch the cat, hear it make noise, and build up a memory of these perceptions over time, then this means that some cat exists, even if it's just a virtual cat. Even if my memories are completely false, there is still a virtual cat in my memory. If my present perceptions match with my memories of how my perceptions should work, and if my perceptions are consistent, then my perceptions are reliable in the sense that they can be relied on to be internally consistent, even if I can't rely on them to discern ultimate reality. This kind of reliability, internal consistency rather than as external diviners of truth, is sufficient to base a functional epistemology. As long as our senses and reasoning are consistently describing some kind of reality, it is reasonable to tentatively trust them. The next step is to build an ontology from our epistemology. Essentially, we will tentatively accept as real those things that we can gain knowledge of. That is, those things that we can learn about via our perceptions, memories, and reasoning ability we will treat as real until proven otherwise. So I will accept that the black and white cat that I have been experiencing exists, unless and until I have contrary perceptions. Where does this leave our brain-in-a-vat scenario? Well, the basic idea is that to the brain in a vat, either the external reality impinges upon its experience of the computer simulation, or it doesn't. Either there is some experience within the simulation that will allow the brain to deduce that the simulation is not the entirety of reality, or there will be no such experience. If there is such an experience, then this is not a true brain-in-a-vat scenario, as the brain can gain knowledge of, and hence learn of the existence of, things outside of the computer simulation. If, on the other hand, there is no such experience, then from the brain's point of view, the existence of a reality outside of its simulation is completely unfalsifiable, and hence the brain is justified in disbelieving in it. This pragmatic ontology is just an instantiation of Occam's razor. We will accept as existing only those things that are necessary for our model of reality, and reject anything that is not. On this basis, there really is no problem of hard solipsism. No matter what reality we find ourselves in, we are always justified in acting as if we are in the ultimate reality. That is, as if we are not brains in vats. Because in doing so, either the universe will continue to behave in a way that suggests there is no plane of reality outside of our own experience, or it will not, in which case we will revise our beliefs and move on. That is, to this ontology, hard solipsism is just the fact that nothing will ever be known with absolute certainty. But this isn't really a problem, as things can still be known to any sufficient degree of certainty. In other words, it's only the presuppositional apologists' insistence on absolute certainty that makes hard solipsism a problem. Once you accept that all knowledge is provisional, this is no longer a problem. A final point about why the idea of an omnipotent God doesn't avert the problem of solipsism. Suppose that we are in a simulation, and this simulation contains an all-knowing being within it. This being would still have no knowledge outside of the simulation, but to all practical purposes would be a God within it. But this being would hardly count as the Christian God, and certainly isn't omniscient, except within the limited world of the simulation. Furthermore, from within the simulation, there would be no way of distinguishing between being inside a simulation but having this being assure you that you aren't, and not actually being in a simulation. And so, the existence of an apparently all-knowing God cannot circumvent the issues of hard solipsism. Put more simply, the claim that God himself doesn't also suffer from the problem of hard solipsism is special pleading. And that's about it for this video. My solution to the problem of hard solipsism is it isn't really a problem. No matter what the ultimate nature of reality is, we are justified in acting as if reality as we perceive it to be is in fact how it is, unless and until we have experiences to the contrary. I hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, see you later.